Hey guys, Brett here. Check it out. I got an updated Zark deck for you. Now, I did change a lot of things, especially taking out hand traps for more gas and searchability. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. First up, I got 3 Supreme King Gate Magician. This card is one of your main starters. You activate it and use its effect to destroy itself to replace it with a different gate. And with a different gate on board and you have another copy in your hand, you can send one to Heavenly or Dimensional Dragons. In the sub of the anime, it was Heavenly and the other is Dimensional. Anyway, by sending that to the graveyard, you can special summon this card and search the card for Zark. Next, we got Searcher, 3 Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon. When this card is used, you discard it, pay 500, and then search out a Dragon Pendulum monster that's level 8 or less. 3 Double Iris Magician. This card, honestly, is just there for a high scale, and then you destroy it to get one of your Pengraphs. The strats of the deck. Basically, this card literally searches almost every monster in this deck. The only one I believe it doesn't search is Astrograph Sorcerer, but anyway. When this card is normal summon, you can add an Odd Eyes, Perform Power, or Magician Pendulum monster to add to your hand. Next up, we got Wisdom Eye Magician. This card is insane. Basically, this card is in your Pendulum Zone, and the other one is occupied by any Magician, even another copy of Wisdom Eye. You can destroy Wisdom Eye to replace it with a different Magician Pendulum. Helps you search out scales more. 3 Supreme King Dragon Dark Worms. This card on summon lets you search out one of your Supreme King gates. You mostly search out Gate Magician, but still. And this card's in your graveyard and you control no monsters, you can special summon it. Next up, 2 Harmonizing Magician. This card is summoned, you get to special summon another Magician from your deck in defense mode, but it's effects from your gate and it banishes when it leaves the field. For the 1-ups, I run 1 Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, mostly for the fusion of Zark, but it does come in handy every now and then with in other areas, such as the main combo where it make Absolute, yada yada, you know. 1 Supreme King Dragon Lightworm. This card is insane and I will explain why later. Supreme King Gate 0. This card's also insane. If you control Zark and this card's active, basically your opponent cannot touch your life points. 1 Perform Power Celestial Magician. This card is insane. When a Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz Dragon is destroyed, you can destroy this card from your Pendulum Zone and bring that dragon back. Next, its monster effect actually varies depending on what you have out. When this card is summoned and you activate it, depending on what you have out, it can have 1 of 4 abilities or multiple of 4 abilities. It can, for Synchros, and my personal favorite, your opponent can activate monster effects. For Fusions, it can attack directly. Xyz, its attack points double, and Pendulums other than this card. You basically at your end phase you get to search any pendulum in your deck and add to your hand. Oath Dragon Magician, this is the one you mostly summon off of Harmonizing. Summon Baron, but whatever. Alright, anti-spell removal as well as problem removal. Purple Poison Magician, this card lets you basically destroy cards on the board if it's destroyed. And finally, Astrograph Sorcerer, which is basically, if you have this card plus Gates, plus Gate Magician, it's basically a full combo. Alright, now for spells, we have 2 Wings of Light. This card lets you search out any Supreme King Dragon or Gate monster from main deck and add to your hand. But if you control Zark, you can actually special summon them instead. Next up, we have 2 Turbotoxic Thrusts. Bit of hand trap response. Or, yeah, talents. Sorry, did I say thrust? I meant talents. My bad. Anyway. 2 Upstart Goblins to add to the consistency. What the hell is my cat doing out there? Whatever. Next up, to help get your Dark Worm to the graveyard, I run 2 Dragon Shrine and Foolish Burial. And if you see this card in your hand, the first thing you want to do is send Dark Worm just to get a combo off. Next up, also for hand traps, you run 1 Called By. Next up, Star Pengraph. This card is insane. Not only does it protect your spellcasters from spells, but when one of your Magicians leaves the board, by any means, you get to search out another one and add to your hand. And that's it for spells. Now for traps. First up, we got Time Pengraph. This card is insane. Just like Star Pengraph, where it protects you from spells, this card protects you from traps. Next up, it allows you to destroy 1 spellcaster you have and 1 card your opponent has. But if both 2 cards are not destroyed via that effect, then I can select one card my opponent has and send it to the graveyard. For the last trap, we have our Fusion one to summon Zark, Soul the Supreme Celestial King. Alright, that's it for the main deck. Now for the extra. Since number 1 was released, I upped Supreme King from 1 to 2. Which is pretty nice. I ran 1 for a period, but just in case I run into someone that has number 1, I run 2. And next up, we run Starring Venom, just for the Zark fusion. I have literally no way to summon this thing. Next, Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. It's basically one of our Omni Negates. Again, for Zark, I run Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. I do summon this every now and then, and it's really fun. Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon is how we get Revolution Dragon back. Because when this card leaves the field, it lets you summon another Odd Eyes monster from your extra deck, and boom! Instant Omni Negate. Next up for Elastic Seas, we run 1 Abyss Dweller. Alright, on to the Synchros. Just like the other two, I run 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. This is why Lightworm is insane. So basically, 1 second. Lightworm, Darkworm. Okay, Lightworm has multiple abilities. One of which is that when it's in your Pendulum Zone and you control Zark, and your opponent summons a monster, imagine you already control Darkworm. And your opponent summons, you summon Lightworm, and change it, and targeting Darkworm, you change Lightworm into a Dark level 4 dragon, and then you can immediately Synchro or Xyz summon. And then you Synchro into this, and when it's done, it basically destroys all monsters your opponent has. Next up, I run 1 Borreload Savage Dragon. 1 Baron de Fleur. This card actually helps a lot because you summon it on first turn, and after you're done using Double Iris, you destroy it to get a Star Pengraph. And for the links, I run 1 Exceed the Pendulum, or 1 Beyond the Pendulum, sorry. 1 Exceed the Pendulum, Celine, and finally, Appaloosa. Anyway, that was today's deck profile. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.